Hello and welcome to our CAS project. This is one of 4 podcasts that we will be doing. As a disclaimer, we will be talking about some sensitive topics surrounding student mental health. If you are dealing with any mental health issues, parent, teacher, or student, we don't care. We encourage you to talk to someone about the way that you feel. However, this will be one of the more lighthearted podcasts. Regardless, viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Freya.
I'm Zach.
Hi, I'm Navdar.
What up? I'm Justin.
I'm Emma.
I'm Maddie.
The topic about this podcast is going to be workload on students, and as a disclaimer, this is not scientific data. Okay, so our first topic is how we feel towards work at FIS, and we saw in our survey results that the majority of people thought that it could occasionally be a lot to handle, and the rest of our response options, which were between completely okay and frequently constantly stressed, were really varied and mixed.
Personally, I think that the workloads are pretty high, especially if it's going from 10th grade to 11th grade. I know it's not even the hardest part of IB yet, but
it's a big jump, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But also I feel like it depends what time you would do this survey, because especially towards the end of a semester or mid-semester, it piles up so much. You have certain weeks where you do nothing, and then you have another week where you just have a ton of assignments, tons of essays.
But I'd say overall, the workload for me has definitely been. I would say that personally, my workload has definitely been something that I would deem unmanageable if it wasn't the only way that I'm getting by right now is because I have a really bad sleep schedule and I do all of my work really late at night. And so if I wasn't for that, I'd definitely be struggling a lot. But then again, I also try to prioritize getting my work done before the weekends because I really like that whole balance between having my weekends free and having to work during the week. So I try to do that, but now I'm realizing that I kind of have to sacrifice that if I want to get to IB. So
yeah, I also feel like it's not necessarily homework, but it's also just catching up on classwork, or if you have a teacher who isn't
who gives math homework every single lesson. When you get given the work, they don't ask for the homework back. They're just oh, here's this, do it, and you'll get better at this topic. But then because it's not you don't have to submit it at the end, it leaves you with this kind of sense that I don't really have to
I never do that type of homework. I never do that type of homework. If it's not worth points or recognition, you never know. Last year I did the whole last assignment that the rest of my class didn't do, and I just didn't get any credit for it. And people just moved on because just no one did it,
It's funny, coming from my opinion, because I came from the US. I took AP Human Geo. The workload for me isn't drastically different than it was.
Mostly because it's different in America.
It is, yeah. So, for me personally, there was a good amount of work in even my freshman year too. So, coming to here, it's not incredibly different. I would say there's definitely more work. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the focus on the tests and quizzes themselves rather than being engaged is what is different here too.
As opposed to when you lived last, you were in Argentina last. What's the difference between the workload there and here?
The most difference is the language. I think it's more difficult here because I have to work harder than Argentina because it's not it's spontaneous.
So because it's not your fluent language, you just kind of struggle with
But in a work thing, I don't do. I don't do.
You're not too stressed about it?
No.
For me, I'm doing all IB classes. I'm just doing one less HL class. So I've still got majorly the same kind of workload except for the one HL. But what I've noticed is still really stressful. There's a lot of work to do, obviously.
Yeah.
But
But I think it's because also a lot of what, for instance, with my psychology class, we just did research methods. She was really emphasizing the fact that, even if you are a low-level student, you should still come to pretty much every single class unless I tell you otherwise. She was saying, you just benefit so much from coming to this class anyway. But then again, it's you're coming to a class that you don't necessarily have to, but you're also in turn getting more work, right?
So it's an extra HL, but you don't even get credit for doing an HL.
That's such a weird ask to do.
But that was more the first, just for the first unit.
And was it helpful?
Yeah, no, they definitely because the research methods are not specifically for psychology. They're for everything. I use my knowledge from psychology to use in bio.
So the next point is, the question we asked was, roughly how many hours do you spend on classwork outside of class each week? And we got, majority of people said that they spend 6+ hours on classwork outside of class each week. And very few people said that they spent an hour or less, meaning that most people are spending at least an hour after school each day doing work or more.
How much would you say you spend on, let's say a week being 7 days?
Yeah.
How often do you spend doing classwork?
I spend around 2 hours.
3 or 4.
5 hours.
3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour or hour and a half.
Okay, I'd say, I'm one of the 6+ hours because I procrastinate so much. But
It really depends on the week, but I could probably spend like 6 hours
Yeah.
per week. Because it's mainly like catching up on stuff I don't understand during chemistry class, and then I have to do that at home.
Yeah.
real quick, can we just like, how much does everyone roughly, with the hours of work that you have, like taken into account, and what time do you guys go to bed? Or
I go to sleep at 11.
Same.
Because I was like
10:30.
yeah, I have a very bad sleep schedule, and so it varies. So sometimes I end up sleeping like when I get back from school. I work for a long, like as in like at least 6 hours extra, and so yeah, my sleep is really bad. So like let's for instance, pick a random day of the week.
yesterday.
Tuesday 17th, I slept for 3 hours and 27 minutes.
That's like the average for him on like a weekday basis, and then on
I
the
feel
weekend.
like destroy you.
How do you
actually
survive?
physically.
Do you want to talk about the sleep data that basically we did some outside research and found some studies. So according to Harvard, you should be getting 9 hours, 8 to 10 hours of sleep, 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and kind of compared that to a 9-hour long day school day, and then 2 to 5 hours of homework and studying. Oftentimes students get less than the recommended amount of sleep.
Yeah, and I feel like especially for our school, it's got like a pretty good reputation, and like you know like our like regional tests, like map testing and whatever, our school always scores like pretty high for those kinds of
Yeah,
things.
I heard it's like
There's
the
some
third
data.
best out of IB schools
Yeah.
in
Well, like-
Europe. or
And that's
something.
why I feel like for us like the workload is going to be quite a bit because like there's a lot of pressure to like keep up.
Workload's not really the only variable, but is one of the main causes of sleep deprivation. And college students who prioritize sleep are likely to see an improvement in their academic performances.
I think there's like a social pressure to get good grades. Like it's
Of course
just,
there is.
it's cool and it's normal. It makes it part of your life in so many other ways than just a grade.
No, yeah, like, no, dude, my old school, like, I went to one of these really dodgy schools in Australia, like, public school. It was a really bad school, and, like, we had, like, I think it was a 70-something% dropout rate, and it was, like, it was really bad, and I remember, like, as opposed to, like, here, like, everyone's, like, always stressed about work, but they always get it done. In Australia, or, like, where I was, like, at least, it was just, like, I don't care.
But also because you pay for the school, so you want to make the most out of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it
I-
is an expensive
I
year.
feel like
No,
you
I
as
went to
well.
private school in Romania and it was exactly like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but in Romania. And it was cool to like hang out with people and go out, not to do work. Here people stay in to do work and that's normal.
I also feel like our school, like, it's like really general to get good grades. It's like normal to get like 6s and 7s on your report card, but like, even though a 5 is considered like, it's not just passing, a 3 is passing, a 5 is like, yeah, you're doing good in this class. If you have like mostly 5s or mostly 4s,
It's seen as
It-
less.
yeah, it's seen as less than normal.
Even though it's
you know?
supposed to be like the average.
And it's also, I feel like Germany does have like one of the best like education
Yeah, stress.
stats. Like Germany is like really strict on that, you
I
know.
just
No,
pulled it
but
up.
public education in Germany is really good.
Blue wrap up.
I don't understand that.
That was fantastic, Zach. Thank you.
There's so much extracurricular activities as well. Like, I'm so glad that rugby, like, I love playing rugby, but, like, I'm so glad that it's over now because now I have Monday, Thursday, and Wednesday extra. Because I couldn't use that before, really.
Well, we're also encouraged to do extracurricular
Yeah,
stuff. And
'cause-
so I feel like, I don't know.
Are
And-
we?
Yeah.
You can't leave if you get 1-4 in your average. You can't leave for sports activities.
Yeah, no, yeah,
And
that's.
I don't think it's encouraged at all. I think it's disencouraged to not do it. When I said I was at NUN and I missed like half a week of school, my counselor was like, if you can handle that, I would recommend dropping it.
Yeah, no, like,
They want you to drop stuff to
No,
the
'cause
athletic
it's-
department really has beef with that.
Well, they really want us to do like internships and like all these kind of things.
Yeah, no, because there's
And
like
they're trying to get us to be like.
But that's because they don't think that the workload is too much.
no, because
Yeah,
the thing
exactly. That's
which
it.
is
thing is
an
that
issue
they-
with itself. Like,
they put like a lot of pressure on you. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're talking internships, college applications, everything's gonna look good. Like you should have these
Yeah,
I
extracurriculars,
would
you
agree.
should have a sport, that kind of thing. But then like it's also an issue if you're doing too many things that you're not doing the schoolwork as well, and you can't achieve full 7s if you're already balancing like 5 extracurriculars
Absolutely.
and things outside of school as well.
I've heard so much stuff from teachers being like, getting really mad when you ask like, hey, I'm not going to be on Friday. Is there anything that I have to do? Could you please send it to me?
yes.
And I've heard like teachers literally yell. Like one time I had a free period and I was standing in someone's class, just staying in there, and this other teacher comes in to just pretty much yell at him about the athletic department. Really, just being like, we shouldn't be making up for like students being gone. They should be doing that themselves. But then like that's what basically it doesn't really work.
Help the students if you want them to do that.
But then
It's hard for us to
but then they're like, oh, but that's that shouldn't be our problem. That's the athletic department's fault. So there's a lot of it like beef between athletic department and like the
I feel really bad for people who want to study in the US because that's when you need a bunch of extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Like I want to study in Germany, so I just need good grades. That's it. They don't really care about much else. But if you're going somewhere where they need extracurriculars, I don't understand how you're supposed to fit that in.
But even just extracurriculars that you like to do, like things like Justin, you don't like, right?
Yeah, right. In the US, I did a lot of stuff. Actually, it's funny. Before I came here, my goal was to get a lot of my extracurriculars out of the way when I didn't have a ton of work for school. Mm-hmm. So here I'm not doing a sports team, I think, because it just takes too much of my time. So I'm doing it on my own.
Because then you can choose when you want to do what.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I like to work too. I don't like being on like forced schedules, lessons. Like, so if I had like sports after and I didn't want to do it because I had stuff to do, like I wouldn't go. Like, you know.
No, because that's something that really annoyed me is that rugby, if you miss training, you don't start. Like, as in, I'm on starting 15, right? Which means I'm like basically not on the bench. If I miss the training before a game, I'm on the bench.
Yeah, but I think like having 3 practice days plus 2 game days, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. On Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, and then weekends you'd be playing or you'd be training.
No, what would happen if you miss a training?
In my case, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I guess we can also kind of tie that into the next question, which is about how frequently people miss deadlines or don't have enough time for assignments. And the people that said they never miss deadlines, that was like a very small percentage of people. And again, because we did survey grades 9 through 12, we can kind of make the assumption based on personal experiences that most of the people that say they almost never or never miss deadlines are either don't have a lot of work to do or like aren't doing the IB, or they're like crunching in to make sure that they get those deadlines in before they've missed it, you know?
I mean, at some point I have like 3 investigations going on at the same time over my workload. Like, it's not like we work on it in class, we work on it strictly outside of class.
Also, according to our survey, the majority of people have said that their mental health has been negatively affected regarding workload at school.
I should just say how many people said that they've been positively affected by it.
We can't actually read that statistic because the number was so small it didn't show up on the pie chart.
So really funny, actually. Look, oh my God, you're right. It's not even there.
Okay, so basically our 3 options for how has your mental state been affected regarding workload at school, and also to make sure we got as accurate results as possible, it was not a necessary question, so people could skip it. This was run by counselors as well. Our options were, have your mental states been affected positively, negatively, or you haven't been affected significantly. And while some people did say that they have not been affected significantly, the overwhelming majority said that it's been negative.
I remember DLP, distance learning program, when we were on Zoom. That was the worst for me. That was really the worst time in terms of like my mental health as well as my just my grades. I was at home the entire time. I couldn't see anyone, right? And I really didn't like being home at that time. I remember it was such a pain because my grades were failing. I couldn't talk to anyone. I was stuck at home all day in my room just every single hour of the week. I remember it was just such a bad thing, and I remember what would happen is that they would send you your homework, your schoolwork, and then this one project they wanted you to do the entire time. But the difference was nothing. It was the exact same thing that we do in school. It's just for some reason DLP made it really apparent that that's what was happening. It was a lot of work to do. And then relating that back to afterwards, for some reason coming into school and having that difference between your home life and your school life is really what draws a line and makes it feel a lot less stressful. But then again, no one finds stress a positive.
Yeah.
That's funny, that's interesting, because for me, we did distance learning too.
Yeah.
Although for the first 2 months, we were no Zoom calls. We would just get assigned it and we just have to turn it in before the end of the day.
Yeah, we had what was it called? Asynchronous?
Sometimes you would Zoom, other times you wouldn't.
Yeah, and they'd send half of the grade into school and the other half would stay home, and then it would alternate, and it was just really weird.
Well, in Argentina, it was not serious. I mean,
did you go to public school or private school?
Private school, you just skip one school year because no one cared about the Zoom meetings, and no one really cared about doing the assignments. So it was just a year you skip, right?
With certain units, I didn't even look at them because I just missed the entire thing. And so I guess if you do that with every single class, you just missed the entire year, I guess.
Yeah. So for me, I was in Malaysia during it, and it got really, really bad there, so we did it for basically 2 years. And for me, it was kind of easy to get away from the workload because I was just close my computer and be done. But now that it's back to normal pretty much, it's been a very big transition.
And it's kind of a link between so again with the whole mental state affecting your mental health. I feel if you're not sleeping enough, that also negatively affects your mental state, but it also affects your physical health as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Did you know in like winter and in spring, when the hour goes up and down, you know, we lose an hour and we gain an hour. When we gain an hour, like 20% more heart attacks happen. Just because of 1 hour of sleep.
Hi, this is Zach from the future while he's editing, and everything Emma just said was false.
No, like I know that sleep definitely like it improves your cognitive abilities. The more sleep that you get, the more switched on your brain is. We learned this in psychology. Sleep is necessary for you to process what you learn throughout the day. And if you don't do that, then like you don't really process it correctly, and so not sleeping can like really negatively affect
It
you.
just messes you up.
But in terms of your physical abilities, like I work this way. Like I work in terms of get everything done before this deadline, and that's just the way that I function. And so like I have like rugby afterwards as well, and like that wouldn't really affect me. I'd be like, oh damn, I'm tired. But the second that I kind of switch on, you would never be able to tell that I didn't sleep last night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no, I can see that.
Does anyone else have anything to say about physical health and sleep and mental health and things like that?
It really depends on like who you are or like person to person.
Yeah.
Because for example, if I don't get enough sleep, like I need my 8 hours. If I don't, I'm like tired. I
You
can't
do
function.
sleep?
What?
No.
What?
But you wait. So you don't function in terms of like physical or like learning?
Like either way. Like if I'm tired, I can't like move, and if I'm tired, I can't think. Like I can't concentrate.
I feel like FIS believes that they have a really good schedule in terms of the amount of work that they give, which is true. Like compared to other schools, it's one of the best, right? But it's still going to be too much for the students, as we've like literally seen in all the data that we've collected from our personal experience, as well as from asking our like friends. That's definitely something I feel like we need to address.
So FIS sends out surveys, and they always ask like, oh, what's the workload like? Like, what do you think the facilities at school are like? The food, that kind of thing.
But you're biased on those.
Is biased.
You don't want to say it's terrible.
Because a lot of the times when FIS sends those surveys out, they're either not anonymous or people just kind of like don't trust it anyways, because it's really hard for people to say like, this is something I'm completely not okay with. A lot of administrators at school are also teachers, so it's hard if you're like criticizing something about that. You're worried that it's going to affect like your grades or the way you're treated.
Well, what's like really good is that we got the real answers.
And we established multiple times, like like in the email sent out, and also in some of the questions and in the description, that this is completely anonymous. Nothing's quoted. Nothing's like directly taken.
But also, what I'm wondering about the workload thing, like I don't know if that's 100% an FIS issue or if that's just the schools in general you have to do work kind of issue.
Yeah, because I understand like they have to, like it's an IB school, they have to maintain
IB level standards.
Yeah, you have to be able to actually work within the 2 years, you have to complete this amount of work. And if you don't have enough work to understand what you're doing in class, and you don't understand class, you're going to fail that class. And they want what's best for you in terms of like completing the IB, right? And so I feel like it's like, I don't know what they could do better, but it's just right now, the people's opinions are that it's just too difficult. This is separable. What are your opinions on extended homeroom?
Kind of useless.
Dude,
I personally think
Extended homeroom.
it's just useless.
No, I think the homeroom.
ATLs 100%.
Yeah, homeroom in general is pointless.
Yeah.
In the US, I never had homeroom. I just showed up and went to my first class, and that's how it worked.
Yeah,
and everything was fine.
Like, what's the point of it really?
Yeah.
Well, we did home
Sorry.
group.
No, it doesn't work. I mean, you
but it
don't
was
do
like
anything. You can't do anything in 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But then
We
like,
could just come in late to school
Yeah.
and not have homeroom, and that'll be so much more like.
Especially
productive.
because homeroom is like, it's early and it's at a weird time too. It's 8:32.
Okay, yeah, I don't understand what the homeroom teachers do. I mean,
it's so useless.
I sit there and look pretty.
they just sit, at least our homeroom teacher just sit down in his chair and starts talking like just him. So no one.
And no one's listening to him.
Like the idea of extended homeroom is that you could like spend time
Working on your
working on
assignments.
stuff before class starts. Do you guys think that that's actually useful at all? Because personally, I think it's
No,
just
I-
useless.
I was trying
It's
to use
actually
those.
not. No.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for listening.
As another disclaimer, all the survey results that we personally collected are not scientific data and cannot be classified as such.
Okay, we will have a new video out or new podcast. We will have a new podcast out around next month, so tune in for that if you want.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Do I click done?
No, everyone say thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.